Welcome! I'm so glad you're here. Today, we are going to make the perfect homemade chocolate cake. Now, this is a recipe I've spent a lot of time on, making sure it's absolutely stunning, but also simple enough for anyone to get right. And I'm just so excited to walk you through it.
And that's really the heart of this recipe. We're going to create something that looks and tastes incredibly special, but we're going to do it with simple ingredients you probably already have in your pantry. It's elegant, it's delicious, and I promise it's completely achievable. All right, so let's start with the foundation, shall we? We're aiming for a light, moist, and wonderfully spongy chocolate cake. Getting this base just right is the key to an absolutely unforgettable dessert.
So, here's what we'll need for the cake itself. As you can see, it's all pretty basic stuff. The one really key detail here is to make sure your eggs are at room temperature. Trust me, it makes a huge difference in creating that light and airy texture we're going for.
So you might be looking at those ingredients and thinking, what's the secret? Well, the real magic isn't just in what we use, but how we use it. The technique is everything. So let's walk through it together, step by step. If you follow these steps exactly, you're going to get a fantastic sponge every single time. We'll start by whipping a ton of air into the eggs. Then we'll gently mix in our liquids, and finally we'll carefully fold in the dry ingredients to keep all that glorious air we just worked so hard to create. Okay, listen up, because this is probably the most important step. Don't cut this short. You absolutely need to whip the eggs and sugar on high speed for a full 8 minutes. This is non-negotiable. It's what turns them into that thick, pale, ribbony mixture that gives the cake its incredible lightness. And for the oven, we're going low and slow. Baking at 160 degrees Celsius lets the cake bake gently and evenly, all the way from the edges to the center, without drying out. This is our guarantee for a wonderfully moist crumb. After about 40 minutes or so, your kitchen is going to smell absolutely divine. You'll know the cake is ready when it's springy to the touch and a skewer popped into the center comes out clean. And now for the hardest part, you have to let it cool completely.
So, while our cake is cooling down, let's get started on the luscious chocolate cream filling. This is what's going to go between our sponge layers, making the whole cake extra rich and delicious.
What I love about this filling is the balance. We're combining that little bit of tang from the cream cheese with the rich sweetness of milk chocolate, and then we lighten the whole thing up with a really stable whipped cream. It's just an unbelievably delicious combination. Now, the real key here is to fold, not stir, when you combine the two mixtures. You want to use a spatula and go from the bottom up and over, gently turning it all together. This is how we keep the filling so wonderfully light and airy. Oh, and here's a small but really crucial tip. If your melted chocolate is too warm when you add it, the cream cheese can get a little, well, greeny. So let it cool down until it's just barely warm to the touch. A little bit of patience here makes all the difference. Okay, our components are ready, our cake is cool. Now it's time for the really fun part, assembling this beauty. This is where we bring it all together. So let's do a quick review of our assembly kit. First, we've got our cooled cake, which we'll carefully slice into 2 even layers. Then we have our rich cream filling, and finally, a simple soaking liquid made of milk and a little coffee to add extra moisture and a deeper flavor. Want to know a little secret for getting those professional-looking, super even layers? I build the cake inside a cake ring. It holds everything together perfectly and gives you those incredibly sharp, clean sides when you're done. It's a game changer. So we'll build it layer by layer, and don't be shy with that soaking liquid. But really, the most important step here is the last one, letting it chill overnight. This is essential. It lets all those flavors meld together and helps the whole cake set up perfectly. Don't skip this.
All right, we're on the home stretch. For our grand finale, we're going to add a simple but absolutely stunning glossy chocolate ganache. This is the perfect finishing touch.
And would you believe it, you only need these 3 ingredients for a luxurious, shiny ganache. You're just going to melt these together nice and gently until it's smooth, and then, this is important, let it cool down. This part is so vital. You're going to take your cake straight from the fridge, and your ganache should be cooled to about room temperature. When you pour cool ganache over a cold cake, you get that fantastic, thick coating that sets up perfectly without melting anything. And this is the best part. You gently remove that molds, and you'll see those pristine, clean layers. Then, just pour that beautiful ganache right into the center and let it naturally flow over the edges. It creates that gorgeous drip effect all by itself.
You really don't need to go crazy with decorations. The beauty of this cake is in its simplicity. A little texture from some chocolate shavings and a pop of bright color from a few fresh berries is honestly all it needs to look incredible. And I've got one final tip for you just for serving. A quick 10 minutes in the freezer firms up that ganache just enough so when you slice into it with a warm knife, you get these perfectly clean, professional-looking pieces every single time. The final result is just heavenly. You get the soft, moist sponge, that creamy, rich filling, and that smooth ganache, and it all just melts in your mouth. It's so, so delicious and deeply satisfying. And there you have it, a foolproof, bakery-quality chocolate cake made right in your own kitchen. This is a recipe I truly love, and I honestly can't wait for you to try it and share it with the people you love. Enjoy it.